Ashley, if you can hear us, do you see it streaming?
All right. I think we're good now.
You think we're good?
I think we're good now.
I'm just going to look at our two handsome mugs then. All right. I think we're good now, James.
Got you.
You
Yeah,
know, man, waking up
think
at
we're good.
3:30 in the morning and going to the gym and all that stuff, and you're having troubles at 6:47. Maybe you need a nap, a power nap.
That's weird. I don't know what that was. Hey, just everybody let us know. Are we good this morning? Yeah, make sure we're good. Good day, everyone. Good day.
I was just telling you, man, can you believe it's Thursday already?
Bro, I cannot believe it's Thursday already. That is wild. Time
is the Georgia market as hot as the Florida market?
Hotter, bro.
Hotter. Man, you're living in a dream world, brother. Living in a dream world.
We might not have those oceanfront views that Miami have, but we still selling $5 million properties around.
Oh, here. You don't have to go to Miami for ocean views, man. They're like 45 minutes away. Come on, man. How cold is it there right now?
Really? That's a nice one. At least we
can you wear flip flops to this show? Because I can wear flip flops.
At least we can deal with the cold weather when we have it. So yeah. All right, awesome. We're good. Everybody says we're good. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Ashley. Good morning, B. Walker. I thought I seen Destiny as well. Good morning, Destiny. I don't know where your comment went to, but good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great morning. Me and Daniel, of course, are back for number 28. Man, 28 already, bro. Like, how you feeling?
I mean, James, when you asked me, I was sweating bullets, man. Yeah. now I'm just like breezing through this, man. I'm ready to talk about all the gossip, man.
Oh, it's a lot going on. There's a lot going on out here in the world today.
There's tons going on right now in this country, in this world,
Real quick, let me state this. I get up and read my morning brew every morning. I just found out this morning, man, that Walmart is closing. I think all of their stores in Chicago, except for 4. Technically, they haven't made any money. Walmart hadn't made any money in 17 years in Chicago, bro. Like
in Chicago.
In Chicago.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it happens in other places as well, James. I mean, how many months out of the year can they not go anywhere, right? It's just like summertime. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been to Chicago. I love Chicago, right? Summertime, Wrigley area, baseball, go for walks, all that stuff. It's beautiful.
Right.
But, man, crime there, the weather, it's a little crazy. And with COVID, one of my best friends lives there. I mean, when COVID hit, they were shut down, man. They were done. Couldn't do anything. Yeah.
Dead in the water.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Walmart?
Yeah. So Walmart, yeah, man.
How are their online sales there? Was there any stats on that?
No, I don't say anything about that, but just to know that they closing down all the Walmarts except for 4, I'm assuming they're closing all of them in the urban areas, in the city part of Chicago, and leaving the ones that are in the more suburban areas. That's just my assumption anyways.
So we're just going to have big ass buildings that are going to be vacant, vandalized, all of that stuff.
I mean, right? if we go to the conspiracy theories, they're going to turn them into FEMA camps and put everybody in them. And that's where we're going to be storing all the illegal immigrants and things of that nature. So
that actually hurts me, my friend. I talk with my financial advisor all the time when we talk, and Amazon is always that like safe investment bet. I mean, everybody uses it. It's an app on your phone. And Walmart, what was it, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe even longer than that. But when I started noticing it, you could use the Walmart app, right? We've got a Walmart pretty close by, but they don't deliver. But you could order your stuff and go pick it up. And I'm like, man. They're on the verge. Like in my mind, James, I don't know how you feel about it, but when you got Walmart, you got Target, you got Costco and stuff like that. Walmart, in my opinion, was the company that I saw that could actually compete with Amazon. Like I've read a couple of stories and I've watched a couple of YouTube channels. It's pretty impressive. Most all big companies like that do that, but if you take a Dorito bag off the shelf and it gets checked out, like one is going on the truck to go back to replace it with Walmart. That's kind of cool. you know, how that works. And I'm like, I just thought if there's a company out there that could compete against Amazon and take some of that share away from Amazon, it was going to be Walmart. So I don't want to see them starting to close shop.
I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely. We're moving away from the brick and mortars. I don't know if you heard the news about Target as well. I mean, Target is definitely like another company that after COVID they lost so much market share because, you know, they just couldn't sell anything. Like that's
I'm just joking when I say this, and people that love Target are going to hate me, or Target, whatever they call
Target.
Yeah. I think Starbucks has a lot to do with their business, right?
I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, I don't go to Target unless it's the closest thing to me and I don't feel like going up the street to Walmart. But I may go to Target once out of every 100 trips to a market. I go to Target once.
Free advice for Target. Starbucks on this entrance, Chick-fil-A on this entrance.
On that entrance.
You'll never go down.
Ooh.
I'm just saying. We'll discuss my salary after you do that, and I make you millions.
Yeah, but you do know there's always a Chick-fil-A right outside the Target, anyways. You know, just like when you're on the highway and you're taking an exit, the first thing you see on the exit of a highway, of a major highway, is a Cracker Barrel. It's like,
yeah, man,
Cracker Barrel is right there on the exit. Like marketing geniuses, honestly.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, well, you know, that's like the guy that bought all the real estate for oh man, it's on tip of my tongue. For like Publix and all of that stuff. You know, he buys all the land and then sells it to them. I don't know if I'm sure Publix now buys their own land and everything now, but there was an investor here in Florida that was doing that would buy all that prime real estate. I mean, it makes sense, right? At some point they're going to develop, and if you could sit on it.
Sit on it. Indeed. I totally agree with that. But yeah, welcome everybody. Welcome. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already. Thank you for the support. Again, this is our 28th episode. I mean, Daniel has been consistent. I think we've been pretty consistent, and we can see that in our numbers. Our growth has gone up. But today we want to talk about who owns the money, owns the world. And I don't know if anyone out there disagrees with this, but I definitely agree with this notion. And I mean own the money, mean the people who actually print the money, the people who are actually behind the precious metals and the precious materials that we have on our planet.
You're not talking about the green money that the feds print down in the
basement.
No.
I'm not talking about
okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure that we were clear on things.
No. We're talking about real money, God's money, as Robert Kiyosaki would call it, God's money. The real money that there's only a certain amount of it is really, you know, scarce amounts of God's money or real money on the planet. And right now, I've been stating that to me, the best things to get into right now is gold, silver, and other precious metals. I've been buying them myself. Our little nuggets of gold came in recently, and it was way smaller than I was expecting. Like,
what do you think you're gonna get? A big block? You think the postal service guy or lady was gonna come to your door and like trip over the mat?
Literally, but these things are smaller than a dime. Like they're the size of a freaking SIM card that goes into your cell phone. Like that's how small they are. But these little fractions of gold is easy to carry. They're easy to, you know, maintain, keep in safe, you know, places. But they're probably super easy to lose if you don't, you know, properly store them. But right now, I'm super excited to have our new investment underway.
What does it come in, James? Does it come in a case or?
No, it comes in little clear packages in an envelope, and I didn't know what it was when it came, and Bernadette was like, "I think that's the gold. It should be here." So that was when we opened this like little clear case. You know, let's slide the little, you know, a sliver of gold in there, and yeah.
Hey, you know what? It doesn't matter how big or small it is. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you're building the future, and it's putting a smile on your face, my friend.
Indeed.
Regardless if you bought a block of gold or a little chip of gold like you're doing, man, you're doing the right thing, right? At the end of the day, that, in my mind, and I think in your mind as well, that is not going to lose value.
I totally agree. I totally agree. Right now, the reason why I think we should have this conversation, and we've been having this conversation about money for the past 3 to 4 weeks, because we're now fully understanding ourselves, Daniel. And I think a lot of people out there in the audience, if you agree, do you think right now investing in gold and precious metal is the right play? I'm not saying everybody has the finances to, but honestly, I think a lot of people have more finances than they think they have. If you really sit down and go over your money and look at everything you're spending your money on, I'm pretty sure that you can come up with a budget to invest into the little things like little grams of gold and silver here and there. I'm pretty sure you have enough money to do that if you put aside the money that you're spending and blowing on other things. So, but yeah, like for me, I think, and you agree, taking that little 5-10% extra income that you may come across and investing it properly is going to be a lifesaver at the end of the day.
Yep.
What about you? How much what you trying to get into when it comes to
actually I was going to put it up here on like the things that I mess around with and that I buy, right? On the message there. Gold, silver, Amazon, Ford, and most people are going to be like, wow, that's an old company, but I like them as well. I like gold, silver, Amazon, Ford, and Nokia.
Nokia? Why Nokia?
Yeah, Nokia, it has a patent to put like 5G, 6G on the moon. So their stocks are like 450, 460 right now, so it's not real expensive. Ford is at like $12. I think Amazon yesterday. If Amazon's been bouncing back and forth, James, from like 96 to 106, and anytime it drops to 100 or below, I always buy one. Right, like what you said. Silver, there's 3 or 4. Silver, we looked at it a couple of weeks ago, was at like $22 or so, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
21, like, $22.
31 bucks. I'm sorry. $31.
It's $31 now?
$31, yes. Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I made $200 from 2 weeks ago when we saw it at 22.
Yeah. So if I'm not mistaken, I haven't looked at it today. And I could be seeing those numbers wrong. Now I can pull it up.
And then gold, what's gold at right now?
2,000 and some change.
Yeah.
Here, I'm looking at real quick, gold and silver prices.
So yeah, again, we are not a financial advisor. We're not advising anybody to go and invest their life savings or anything like that. You should contact your financial advisor. These are things that I am comfortable with, that my wife is comfortable with in looking at. And in my opinion, these are safe bets for me. And with all the talk about the BRICS and taking over the US dollar and all of that stuff, I think Amazon and Ford and Nokia will be here. Ford actually is meeting with China, I heard, for like these energy cars and all that stuff. So, we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, gold right now is at $2,000, $2,037. And silver is at $25.85. I'm sorry, it's $25.85. Okay. So it went up $3. It went up.
So I made a little bit, know.
So speaking of that, there's multiple ways you can invest in gold and silver. You can get the physical commodity, or if you're into investing on the stock market, you can do commodity. People who are actually digging for the gold, like the commodity. You can't believe I just lost my train of thought. This is why I can't drink coffee.
No, James, it's fine, man. What about art? Have you tapped into any art?
This is why I can't drink energy drinks and coffee. My brain gets to moving too fast.
No, I got you. Yeah, I'll dial you back in. What about art? Do you mess around with art?
No, I haven't gotten into the art yet, man. I haven't got into that. I'm not fluent enough in it to get into it. If I was able to get more fluid into knowing what I'm actually, buying, like the Picassos and the Da Vinci's, and understood the process. And I know you can do fractional purchases, but right now, I think for me, I want to definitely focus on the things that I know for certain has always been able to stand the test of time. That's real estate, that's gold, that's silver, that's precious metals. And again, I just don't know enough about it to get into it right now. Not saying I won't.
I will tell you, James, it's so funny because last night, I don't know, I woke up 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and mine was racing, just thinking of all these things and all that stuff. And it was the art and the purchases and stuff like that. And just like you said, I'm not comfortable in it. right? Like I don't know my art pieces. If I have a tough time just remembering who's singing the song, right?
Exactly.
I but I was like, man, that's a great thing for my wife. My wife loves to draw. She knows those art pieces. She really enjoys that stuff. So I'm like, man, that's something that I need to get her in because she could probably point out a picture. And I'm like, Ma, to me, it just looks like a couple of crayons on a piece of paper. And she's like, she would stop me and be like, that's a $500,000 piece or something like that,
Got you.
So you gotta know what you know and what you don't know.
Yeah,
Stay
man.
away. Be
Yeah,
safe.
stick to your guns. I mean, don't jump from one thing to another looking for you. I want everybody to be diversified in their stakes, but don't jump around trying to just get on the next big wave. Just like Bitcoin, everybody jumped on Bitcoin. They get in too late. Next thing you know, everything's hit the wall and shit hits the fan, and now you lost multiple thousands of dollars. Just like I was listening to the Dogecoin millionaire guy lost all of his damn money because he was too stubborn to sell at a point where he was up $2.9 million on his Dogecoin. Now he's down to maybe 50 to 75,000. And there's been so many other people who invested in things like FTX. They've invested in, things they had no idea about. They didn't have no real understanding, and they've lost thousands of dollars. Me and Bernadette, we had a client who was looking to buy a house, and doing this was during the time of the pandemic. We was all into Bitcoin, we was all into crypto, we was all into investing, and we had a lot of people who was telling about tokens, Fed token, Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, all of these different tokens. And he came and said, "What about Waterloo?" Like, I never heard of Waterloo. He said, "Yeah, let me send you the link. This you're going to love it. It's going to be the next big thing." And I'm like, everybody's saying the next big thing, the next big thing.
Yes.
All of it is a rug pull, if you ask me. They're going to get you in there to get your money, and everybody's looking for a way to get money, and scams are the easiest way. I mean, there's so many people scamming, but when he sent me the website off the back, I already knew it was a scam. This is a scam, bro. Do not invest your money. Well, I've already invested $5,000. No way you invested $5,000 into something you did no due diligence on. Yeah, I can make an extra $300 a week or day or something. I'm like, bro, there's nobody's making that much money right now on anything in any commodity. And sure enough, he couldn't pull his 5,000 out, or the money that they claim he made. It was all a rug pull. It was a facade of numbers. People playing with on the other side of the website. So I tell people, be careful. Do your due diligence. Do your due diligence on everything you're doing. And you can never do enough due diligence. If you miss out on an opportunity to make some money, there's going to be more. But make sure you're investing your money somewhere that's legitimated.
Yeah, and I would tell people, if you're thinking about making a large investment into, say, a smaller company, right? People love, how can I say this? People love to invest, but they're like, all right, I'm gonna get the next penny stock or whatever it is. And if it's a new startup company and you look at the size of the employees and there's 20 employees, call the CEO of the company. You don't get a call back, don't invest.
You don't invest, indeed.
Don't invest. If you don't get a call back and you don't get your answers answered, don't invest. I will tell you, I know for sure my financial advisor, he will, we've had conversations, and he'll, like, if he's investing with a company like in New York or Chicago, stuff like that, he's probably pulling all of his money out of Walmart right now in Chicago, because they're closing shop. But he will make those phone calls, and so there's no reason why you can't do it for a smaller penny company that you're thinking about investing to. Right?
Indeed.
So all the investment talk, I know you want to bring up, the Trump conversations. I know you want to bring up the Biden-Hunter conversation, and then your quantitative easing situation, James. I know you got a lot on your mind.
I do.
Are you dialed in?
Yeah, I do. And honestly, before we get into the Trump conversation, because I think this is going to tie in pretty well. Honestly, if you don't mind, if you're in the chat, please, I want to see who's voting for who this coming up election.
Oh my gosh, James, you're going to run everybody off.
Come on, man. I want to know who's voting for who. I mean, I think that's a great way to, kind of see who we have in here. And no judgment. I mean, you vote for who you want to vote for. Our economy is shit anyways compared to what, Right? So I don't know.
You just told us you were selling $8 million homes. Is it really shit?
I mean, for the ones who ain't selling $8 million homes, yeah, it's pretty shitty. But no, honestly though, I definitely want to know where we stand. And I tell everybody now, I'm voting for Trump. I'm a quote unquote black guy in America voting for Donald Trump. Yes, I am. So judge me however you will.
He's not even going to make it. It's going to be DeSantos.
So overall, the United States have historically been a dominant economic and political powerhouse. But the rise of BRICS, countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa has challenged the dominance in recent years. The countries have rapidly grown economies, large populations, and strategic geopolitical importance. I guess the understanding of where we are right now is how does this affect us in the long run? We've had this conversation a couple times already, right? And I start to look at more things, Daniel, and I'm starting to agree with you. That I don't know if Russia and India are naturally likable countries for each other. I don't think they naturally mesh well. I think they both have corrupt, especially Brazil, have corrupt political agendas. So I'm starting to agree with you that I don't think that these countries are going to really be able to suffice what their actual goal is if it takes longer than need be.
Damn, I am definitely going back and listening to this show. I feel like I just got to win, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I just got to win. James, it's funny because when we started the conversation, I actually think we started this conversation when you and your wife were on, and I was enjoying my spring break vacation and all that stuff. And I think it's kind of carried over since then, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. But, I made that comment when we got on, like kind of joking just who we are. But the more and more research, the more and more videos, the more and more reading that you do, right? And you look at the American dollar and they talk about, currency and how it changes every 110 years, I think it is, right? US is at 102. Are there changes going to happen? Absolutely. There's changes. Phones change, vehicles change, everything changes, right? Hopefully for the better. But, I definitely stick to that, man. I think there's a power struggle there. We have our own power struggle in our own field, but that over there on that side is a little crazy. And I don't see how they could point. We've seen the movies where, there's three people in a room and they all think they're the leaders. It's not going to work out well. They're all plotting against each other.
And that's what I'm starting to notice more of is that I think overall with the right president, and now we can get to the Trump talk a little bit, with the right president, I definitely feel like we can kind of, pressure them with some tariffs and some different types of, taxes that we could create a barrier between Brazil and China, and different measurements to cause them to ease up. Because right now what China is doing, and if a lot of people don't know, China is literally going into Africa, buying up all of their resources, taking their resources after purchasing them, then going and recreating some type of item or some type of commodity, then sending it back for them to sell. So they're doing the same thing that we've always done, come in, get the resources. But I think they're just doing it on a scale where they're looking or trying to play the nice guy. But overall, they're just being more corrupt than, anybody else that has done it.
No, you're absolutely right, James. And look right now, take all this U.S. economy money and the yen and all of that, take it out. Just look at their countries in a whole. Like, you and I, we can wake up in the morning and go to the gym. We can surf the internet. We can do this. We can buy this. We can do all of that stuff. It's not that way over there. And if that's the way that you're going to run it, you could have all the currency. You could own all the currency in the world, but you don't let people do what they want to do and go out. You tell them when to go to bed and when to cut the internet off and all of that stuff. So, there's a power struggle there. And something definitely needs to change on our end here. for all of us. I think we're all ready for some type of change. I think we are all over the COVID. We're over. God, I hate to say this, but we're over somebody being a little bit more aggressive and like just telling you how it is, because we have not gotten that in the last 3 years.
B. Walker said North Korea just launched missiles at Japan. Well, I don't think that's nothing new either. Overall, I definitely agree.
Those are the ones that we just caught.
Yeah, those are the ones we just caught. But yeah, I definitely agree with you, Daniel. Having the aggression is, I think we need a little bit more aggression. That's my opinion when it comes to our political standpoint. But I don't think we need the aggression on our American people. Right now, if you look at Xi Jinping sells a nice facade of a great Chinese, community, or he sells it as if they're just they've grown, they've invested well, they've invested wisely. But if you look deeper, China is horrible. China is horrible in a lot of different facets. They've invested in so much infrastructure. As someone once said, they built the bridge before they built the river. There's so many abandoned buildings because people was taking advantage of those Chinese loans, real estate loans. Like, there's so many developers that was in China doing that in the last 5 years that they've built buildings that hasn't still been finished yet. Like, they would literally pre-sale condos in China. And then, but once they pre-sold them, they would take that money and go start on another building. And those buildings that they took the pre-sales on never got completed. Like, there's so many people who are over there protesting that they don't show us, because again, the CCP do not show us the truth.
James, and I love that analogy and the way you talk about, right? Like,
yeah.
to me, Russia's like this. You went to school, right? And at some point when you were in school, you weren't the biggest guy in school, right? And so, you do your thing, and then the big guy picks on you and picks on you and picks on you and picks on you, right? So I look at Russia, like when you talked 3 years ago about like military power in the world, it was United States, China, Russia. Russia's this big bully. They come in, they haven't done shit. And you know what I'm saying? They are destroying a country and people's lives. And it is absolutely ridiculous, but they're not as powerful as they thought they were.
I agree. And I think once we get Trump back in office, Trump is going to stop
Santos.
Trump is going to stop this ridiculous war that is going on in Ukraine, because honestly, the interview that we watched, he's like he said, when he was in office, he didn't have Putin having this type of aggression. He didn't feel this strong about making these moves because there's no one backing, there's no one stepping in between those moves. There's no one stepping in between any of the moves that are happening between the BRICS. They are able to move freely as they want to right now. And I think this is the cause of the de-dollarization. If you don't know what de-dollarization is, people, it's pretty much it refers to a trend when countries and businesses reduce their reliance on the US dollar as a global reserve currency. And like Daniel said a minute ago, this is not the first time we've had, a dollar become de-dollarized. So what happened is, we start to focus on other currencies. Like, one of the things China is pushing right now is the yuan, but the yuan is not their currency. When people say the yuan and they say, "Oh, the yuan," it's not. The ruble is their currency, and it's low. It's not even like, this is China always selling propaganda. We're constantly looking at the wrong thing. So the de-dollarization of the American dollar right now is a trend between a lot of these countries like Brazil, India, China, the BRICS. Pretty much, they're trying to use this de-dollarization to gain some leeway and create a disproportionate amount of people saying, "Hey, we're moving from this to this," but it's not established yet. China and the BRICS have not established an actual currency, and I don't think they're going to be establishing one anytime soon.
I agree. I'm going to change everyone's vote right now come this new election. You ready? What I put in the chat.
You said you put something in the chat?
Yeah.
I see Ashley said, I don't vote and never have ever since Ross Perot won but didn't win. It's rigged, so I stay neutral.
Hey, Trump people say that too.
You know, this is the thing as well, because Ashley, I can agree with you. I was at that point in one time in my life where I always thought everything was rigged, and I had this conversation with my mother the other day. You know, she was claiming at one point she may be voting for Trump, but now she's going to be neutral. She's not voting for anybody. You know, this is my thing. This is my thing. This is the thing. The issue I have right now with people who are saying that they're not going to vote. You didn't have a problem voting for all of these other people now that you hate that's in office. But when you have another opportunity to probably switch sides, now we're going to be like, I'm not voting. I'm going to just stay neutral, which is fine. Again, I've stayed neutral multiple times, you know, but I also feel like, okay, I'm not going to vote for someone who I don't fully understand. And if you don't fully understand Trump, I don't expect for you to vote for Trump. You know, I don't expect for you to go out there and put your name on a ballot. But I'm also don't expect for you to go and vote for someone just because you don't want Trump to win. We had this conversation as well. And that's, I think, a lot of times we get that. We get people saying, I'm going to just vote to vote just so I can keep this one president out the office, not knowing what the other president is about that they're actually voting for. So
Yeah. And I think a lot of the votes are that way, right? They just, and again, that's why a lot of times the votes are so close, 49-51, 48-52, stuff like that, because that's what people are doing. They're just going and voting, you know, all Democrat or all Republican. That's just what they're doing.
And that's crazy too. When I see that, you know, when I see voters, and it comes down to, like, even here in Georgia, it's like we have a Democratic mayor, but then we have a Republican governor. It's like,
nothing gets done.
Like, how did we win in the race for senator to be, or the governor to be Republican, but there's mostly Democratic mayors around the you know, the state? That's weird to me, because again, like you said, most of the time when people vote, I think they only focus on the president, and then they don't really know who's the smaller people in house, the senators, the representatives. They just go through and check whatever they feel is okay. Hey, I like his name. Their name sounds cool. You know, like
most of them, James, will change their name to like AA, so they're at the top of the list because they know people will check the first person, you know, when they just go down the list. You know?
So let me ask you this. I don't know, Destiny, maybe I'm reading this wrong. It says voting for the Republican Party. Is this you saying you voting for Republican Party at this point? Or how does this go? Is everybody in the house, Daniel, Republicans, Democrat? Is it split? How does that go?
I don't know, man, but just look at the ages. Nobody's commenting. I love Walker, though. You know, it's Trump 90, Biden 1, DeSantis 9.
Well, first of all,
DeSantis is 44 years old. Can we have somebody that's a little bit like in the middle, not like over the top? Like DeSantis, if you're a Trump lover, DeSantis is, you know, he's harsh. He gets to the point, all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. I mean, I agree with you. I would love to have a younger president, but I don't think we need a younger president that's not going to be as aggressive as Trump. I would rather have a 76-year-old aggressive Trump for the next 4 years and a semi-aggressive vice president named DeSantis that's running with Trump. I think if Trump win, I think DeSantis should be vice president.
I'm kind of tired of the senior citizen jokes, though. Between that, you know, we're going to get 4 years of Trump, and it's going to be the same thing. He's old, is this, you know.
I mean, but would you agree if Trump won? Would you want DeSantis as his running mate?
DeSantis and Trump will not.
What? Kamala literally stood on the stage and said that Joe Biden was racist, and he chose her as a vice president.
I don't think DeSantis will. I think DeSantis, if he doesn't win it this come term, if he doesn't run, if he doesn't put his name in the hat, which I know he's having, you know, meetings and all of that stuff and banquets and all that stuff to raise money. He will definitely run in 8 years. 100%.
100%. I would love
100%. Man, he's primed for it. He's in Florida. He's a governor of Florida. Come on.
Listen, I would love to see DeSantis as the running mate for Trump. Like, I would love to see him as vice president. Give him that experience in that office. Then he come back and run for president himself. Give Trump the opportunity to be the vice president. I mean, hey man, I think it could work. But yeah. Oh, so Destiny's the only Republican in the House. What? So how does this work out, man? How does this how like I guess I'm trying to ask because like me, Bernadette, her mom, we're all Republican based right now. So the conversations aren't as aggressive. Do you and Destiny have conversations about political stuff, or y'all kind of keep that out of that conversation?
Oh no, it's full on war in our house, my friend. It's full on war. Like we debate, we go back and forth. There's tears that are shed. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
It was very tough. It was very tough, right? Especially COVID. We were all inside the house. I mean, that's all you could do is watch the news, watch the news. I mean, that was it, So those were some tough times. They were good times, and she knows they were good times. But, it definitely allows our children to be educated and know more than her and I have know at their age, at 19 and 16, right? Like they are listening, they are watching for things. I think now we probably really gear more towards like local, like in our state, because that's really important, right? When the president's elected, you go in there, like we've already said, you just go in there and you mark, whatever your party is. But really pay attention to your states. You know what I'm saying? The state that you were in, that's very important to you, your business, your family, the growth, all of that stuff. So, if you're not going to vote for your president, okay, me and James agreed on Monday. Don't vote. We respect that more. But for your local politicians, your local area, the state that you're in, that's important. That's important to you and your growth for you and your family and your business.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, man. Well, that's good to know. I mean, I do think there needs to be diversity so your kids can know both. Again, I was a Democratic at one point. I used to teach my daughter about that stuff. Now I'm more lenient towards the Republican Party. Now she's learning about that stuff as well. So when she gets to that age, she can learn on her own what she stands for. Like, what do you stand for? What is your outcome and what you want to be? That's totally going to be your choice. I can't force your opinion one way or another. So that's good that there's a common ground that, okay, we love each other and our political perspectives doesn't change that. Because, some people
we may have had somebody jump into the pool over a conversation before.
Oh, wow.
James, it's important to say this because, we're talking politics and neither one of us are politicians. Right. Neither one of us are financial advisors. We're having a conversation. We're two guys in two different states that really like each other. We're growing together and it's awesome. But, something that I think is really important that we do in talking about this with our kids, and we're trying to educate them. When I was 16, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, probably until we had our daughter, I just listened to people and you kind of just fall in their footsteps. If they say Trump's great, great. If they say Biden's great, great. If they say Bush was great, whatever, you just, okay. It's kind of like your household. If it was Democratic, you were Democratic all the way. That's what you were supposed to vote for. Same with Republican. I don't want that for our children. I want our children to be able to make a decision on their own and come up with their own opinion. And I stress to each of them, especially with our young son, 16 years old, right? He's a young male. He's around a lot more influence now with work and school and friends and doing certain things and all of that stuff. And it's like, look, just because somebody tells you the sky's blue, go find out see if it's blue. It may be light blue, So I think it's important that we teach our kids to understand, listen, it's okay to not hang with the crowd or agree with the crowd. It's okay to have a different opinion on things. And when I was young, I didn't. I just kind of followed the crowd. I don't
follow the crowd, right? Because no one. It's hard. Daniel, me and you both. We didn't come from the silver spoon lifestyle. We had to pretty much pick ourselves up from the bootstraps. Walk through life learning the lessons that we have to learn as we walk. As they used to say back in the day, we had to go on our walkabout. We had to go out there and tackle the world as it came to us. Things of that nature. A lot of times now, these kids have too much of a complexity from their parents that don't worry about this. Don't focus on this. Just do it this way. No, let your kids learn. Let your kids learn. Let your kids go out there and make their own mistakes. Let your kids go out there and figure out what they believe in, whether they believe in a more of a conservative mindset or if they believe in more of a liberal mindset where they think everybody's equal, everything's equal, or even if they have a communist mindset, no, that's their mindset. They have the right to find that mindset themselves. So I totally agree. And I wanted to read this comment real quick. Dolores said, a young man came up to me yesterday and asked, had I heard that the American dollar is going to be eliminated? This shows right now that a lot of younger individuals or adults are getting into more of a financial conversation, which is great. I mean, because we all need to prepare ourselves and understand that, well, the world is what it is. The world is always going to be changing. And if you're not prepared, you're going to wake up one day and realize that you're in the Fed now, which is a digital dollar, which means you have no more cash to go to. That's not going to be any more ATMs. There's not going to be any more bank runs where you can go and pull out $1,000. You're going to wake up one morning and realize that, okay, we're not on the American dollar as the world currency, which means you may be walking around with some yuans or some rubles in your pocket. We don't know. Like, things could happen, but the best thing you can do is keep your mind open to learning and expanding and understanding what could possibly come. Because the American society right now, our current social and economic structure in the United States is characterized by a significance of inequality. Like, a lot of us are at the smaller percentage of wealth and power. Like, majority of us are a smaller percentage of wealth and power. And that inequality has contributed mostly overall to the social unrest that we see today. Political polarization, throughout the recent years has created us to be a lot more shielded, a lot more vocal, a lot more, outspoken about what we see as an American people. And honestly, for me, I didn't grow up in a world where we were vocal about a lot of the political stuff that went on in my community. We just talked amongst ourselves and like, oh, this some BS, this some bull crap. I wish we get a president. But now we're actually out there like protesting and standing up, being vocal, vote for this person, go out there and get your vote on. So I definitely see a change in our, approach to political structure. And again, Ashley, I agree with what you're saying. You haven't voted, but maybe you should try it. I mean, it's a different feeling. It's a good feeling once you actually go and cast the vote, regardless if your person wins or not. I don't know if the votes are rigged. I don't know. I mean, but I think that's the most irrelevant part now that I've grown to say your vote doesn't matter. I don't know if it does or not, but guess what? Just be active in the world that you say you love in the United States. I love the United States. So I'm going to be active in any way possible to make sure our country stay great.
I think you're spot on, James. I think it's like everything, like we teach with our partners and we speak about it to educate yourself, right? In a time where they say, oh, the housing market's kind of slowing down, stuff like that. We started off by saying, educate yourself, educate yourself.
Educate yourself. Yeah.
If you've never voted or you vote every other time or you vote when you want to vote and stuff like that, you do get a good sense, a good feeling outwards if you've actually educated yourself and paid attention to the different mindsets or plans that these governors, these Senate people, the president and them have. Watching the news can be scary for everybody. Like, I mean, my life for me, I feel is so much more simpler that I don't watch, the MSNBC, the Fox, the CNN. Again, I stay away from those and I just do my own reading. You can get enough information on YouTube and just regular your morning brew subscription, stuff like that, and stay up to date with everything. But when it comes to your president, it comes to your governor of your state, I do think that you should try it, Ashley, 100%. I definitely think that afterwards you'd have a good feeling that, that you made a difference, at least in yourself, because you educated yourself, you know what's going on, and who knows, you may continue on.
Exactly. And back to our original conversation, because again, when it comes to voting, I'm with Trump, and maybe DeSantis win. Either way, I'm gonna vote for either one of those Republicans. Right now, I think we need a strong leadership here to combat the CCP. If you all don't know what the CCP is, the Chinese Communist Party is pretty much a communist party of Xi Jinping and all of that good Beijing and all of that good narrative. But overall, recently we've seen a huge increase in China being active over here. Turkey, I don't know if you know, but Turkey recently over the past year have purchased over $300 million in gold. So they're trying to back their currencies with gold. We're also starting to see this with China and other countries. But right now, even in our own country, China is one of the biggest investors in Hollywood. I don't know if you've seen this, but if you're watching a new movie, 80% of the movies that are being produced off the finances of Tencent. I don't know if you don't know who Tencent is. Tencent is one of the biggest financial investors. They invest in TikTok. They have investments in Roblox. They have investments in Fortnite. Like, they do a lot. But most of the movies, like I went to the movies, me and my wife went to the movies to see the Maverick, Top Gun, the Maverick. And I didn't realize this, but at the end of the movie, it said Tencent. I'm like, only one Tencent I know, and that's the Chinese Tencent. And I'm like, oh, wow. So they had me looking even more. So every movie I started watching after that, and I went back a couple years, Tencent at the end of it. It's like, oh, wow. Like, we are really allowing China to have this much influence in the things that our kids are watching, and the things that our kids are being able to consume. And a lot of these movies premises are really communist based. If you look at some of the stories that they're selling, it's really communist based, So we have to keep in mind that they have infiltrated us in our Hollywood, and TV and movies is one of the most influential things that we have
So in America. Yep. 100%, James.
It's crazy, man. Also, sports,
right.
everything, they're in everything over here that we value the most. So I think we need someone who can really get in here and help us change our perspective, and get our infrastructure more secure. So have you heard about the ban on TikTok?
No.
You haven't been following that? Okay. Don't want to get into too much, but the government is trying to pass the restriction bill.
Okay. I thought this was something new. I know that's what they're trying to do, is trying to like delete it, all of that stuff. I know a couple of weeks ago they had him, the spokesperson or the CEO for the United States, come in. But yeah, go into detail, James.
Yeah. So real quick, TikTok has been one of the most risky security issues that we've seen with infiltration from the Chinese Communist Party to get information from our users. They're tracking every keystroke. They're doing so much when it comes to us using their app, because it is a Chinese-based app, even though they claim it's not, because the Chinese-based app is actually called Douyin. Douyin is another version of TikTok that they actually control, but they don't get the same content we get. Over here, we get dumbed down, watered down content. Over there, they're selling science, they're selling financial, they're selling stuff that can actually help their people grow. And over here, they're just feeding us the watered down versions of entertainment that keeps us on that app for multiple hours a day. So right now, it's already been banned in like 30 states. Out of the 52, we've already seen it.
I know a couple colleges banned it, right?
Yeah. Colleges has already banned it off of their Wi-Fi network. Then on top of that, we have government officials who can't use it on any government phone or any government computer. So I love that notion. But the Restriction Act, I think what we are seeing with this Restriction Act is not only are they trying to use this as a forefront to ban TikTok, but they're also going to use it as a forefront to actually do what China is doing, but create more of a communist, society where they can we can get fined for using certain apps, using VPNs. I like VPNs. I like those virtual, networks. I love them because, again, I don't want to be tracked with everything I watch. I'm not saying that I'm watching anything illegal. You can come check my computer, but overall, I don't like the cookies. I don't like all those things popping up, showing me ads, constantly pushing ads in my face. But it's going to be illegal to even be using the VPNs. And they're talking about millions of dollars in fines. They're talking about 10, 20 years in jail for using just a simple VPN, which blocks your IP address, because they don't want people downloading TikTok and causing that security risk for the United States, which I understand.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's a broader structure when it comes to TikTok right now. And Bernadette made an actual good point right now as well. Gotta go vote is gotten so bad they are using bad community theater actors like Dylan. I can't get into this, Bernadette. I can't even read this. Oh, I thought you said something else. Oh, they actually used a drug addict and porn star and gave him a bigger funeral than Martin Luther King, and then made him an American martyr for civil rights. The whole thing with the Tennessee shooting, the whole thing with that going on up there, listen, it's devastating. We see this every time we running for president. This is just my breakdown. When we want a Republican president, we see, when we want a Democratic president, we see race. We see racial issues go out of control whenever there's a Republican president in office. Whenever there's a Democratic president in office, we see gun violence. So it's always something. It's always they want to stop. They want to put a ban on AK-47s. They want to put a ban on assault rifles, or they want to say that the government is racist because they won't stop police brutality. It's always something, and I try to avoid those type of conversations now, because I think
we won't go into the gun conversation.
Not today. Not today.
We only got a couple more minutes.
Yeah, but overall, man, I think there's a lot going on, and I think it's good to pay attention to your finances. Pay attention to who has the money, because the money rules the world. The people who has the money, and I'm talking real money. I'm talking about this printed money, but real money, gold, silver, precious metals, stocks, like whatever you can get into, some real estate. That is the real money. And I think we follow that. We follow where the world is going. We can see how this thing is going to play out. But if you're not following the money, you're not following anything at this point.
Buy assets. Stop buying liabilities. Love my neighbor. Pulled up in driveway yesterday. Bought another liability. I'm like, wow.
Wow. Can I know what the liability was?
Oh, yeah. It's a beautiful boat.
Fantastic
boat. Fantastic boat. I was like, man, you could have bought a lot of gold with that. A lot of silver.
Maybe he's one of the guys who bought all the gold and silver.
Yeah, he's got it in his house. There you go. That's what it is.
But again, man, we are in a tough spot here, ladies and gents. I think we are in a very tough spot here. We have a lot going on, but don't focus on the bull crap. Focus on yourself. Focus on where your finances should be. Invest wisely. Stay away from that negative news that's pumping this propaganda that the world is over. I think we're just beginning. Like, we're just getting started, and you want to be at the forefront of this this reset. I'm gonna call it this reset, So
Reset.
Yeah. She said a boat that he may have to live on. Hey, you may be right. I hope he paid cash for it.
It had 2 motors on it, so I'm sure we can make some long runs if we
some long runs on it. Got you. You should have bought one that was electric.
Yeah.
How gas is going. But yeah, listen, if you enjoyed this show, please drop a comment in the comment section once we're over. Let us know how you planning on investing your money over the next 18 months. That's how long it takes to get out of a reset. And remember, we've already been in the reset for about 20 months already. It's going to be about another 18 months before we actually get out of it. Once they actually come out and say we are in a reset, then we can expect an 18-month turnaround. But we was really close to a depression. Here recently. And I think we barely avoided it, but we have to follow the money. I'm talking real money, ladies, gents, real money. Follow the money. All right. But listen, other than that, have a great weekend. Look forward to talking to you all Monday
morning. Let's finish this week strong, guys. ladies.
We strong. Hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that bell notification bell so you can be notified every time me and Daniel go live. Other than that, if you want, please reach out to us. Daniel White in Florida. If you're looking for some insurance or a great real estate agent, if you're looking for one in Georgia, please reach out to me. Listen, we're here for you. Any advice we can give you. Remember, we're not your financial advisors, nor we're your lawyers, but we can definitely point you in the right direction. Other than that, have a great one. This was the closing table. Until next time.
See you at number 29, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.